Today we are digging into a massive study that just dropped in the New England Journal of Medicine. It's called the Challenge Trial, and honestly, its findings could totally change how we think about recovery after colon cancer.
So here's the big question this whole thing is built around. Can a workout program actually be as powerful as a drug? Can it save lives? For a long time, that's been more of a hope than a scientific fact. But this trial, it was set up to get us a real, definitive answer.
To get why this is such a big deal, you have to start right here, with this one single, terrifying question that hangs over a patient's head long after the surgeries and the chemo are done. It's a huge emotional weight for millions of people.
Okay, so let's set the stage here. What was the exact problem, the lingering fear, that these researchers were trying to tackle?
Well, this is the stark reality. Even when treatment for high-risk colon cancer goes well, the cancer comes back in 20 to 40% of patients. That is a distressingly high number, and it represents a huge gap in cancer care.
Now, doctors and scientists had their suspicions. There were hints that exercise could help, but hints aren't enough to change how medicine is practiced. They needed what's called Level 1 evidence, the absolute gold standard of proof, from a big, randomized trial.
And that's exactly what the Challenge Trial was. It was a massive, ambitious, decades-long experiment designed to finally get that gold standard answer.
And listen, this was no small-scale thing. They enrolled 889 patients. All of them had high-risk colon cancer that had been surgically removed, and they'd all finished chemo. You need that kind of scale to get results that are truly reliable.
So how did they do it? Well, the setup was actually pretty simple, but really smart. They randomly split everyone into two groups. The control group, they got the usual pamphlets about living a healthy life. The exercise group, they got those same pamphlets, but they also got a structured, supervised exercise program that lasted for 3 years. It's that direct comparison that makes the findings so powerful.
And just look at this timeline. It gives you a sense of the sheer dedication we're talking about. The first patient joined way back in 2009. It took almost 15 years to get this done. That's an incredible commitment from everyone involved, the researchers and especially the patients.
All right, this is it. The moment we've all been waiting for. After all that time, all that effort, what did they actually find?
So they followed these folks for a long time, a median of nearly 8 years. And the core question was simple. Did the exercise actually make a difference? Did it help people live longer, healthier lives?
And the answer was a resounding yes. The people in the exercise group had a 28% lower risk of the cancer coming back, of getting a new cancer, or of dying from any cause. A 28% reduction. That is a huge deal in oncology.
Let's put that into real numbers. Look at this. After 5 years, over 80% of the exercise group was still alive and cancer-free. In the control group, that number was just under 74%. That's 6.4 percentage point difference. That's a real, meaningful survival advantage.
But get this, the news gets even better. When they looked just at the risk of dying from any cause, what doctors call overall survival, the result was even more dramatic. The exercise group had a 37% lower risk of death.
And this is what it means in terms of actual lives. 8 years down the line, more than 90% of the people in the exercise group were still alive. That's compared to about 83% in the control group. That 7.1 percentage point gap means more years of life. That's the ultimate goal, right?
Okay, so we know it worked, but what exactly were these patients doing? I mean, what does a life-saving exercise program even look like?
Now, this wasn't just, here's a gym pass, good luck. It was a whole program. They had regular coaching sessions. They did a mix of supervised workouts to get the hang of it and then independent ones to build the habit. And the goal for everyone was to hit at least 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise every week. We're talking brisk walking, jogging, that kind of thing.
Okay, but what about the downsides? There's always a trade-off, right? Well, the main side effect was some muscle soreness, which, makes sense. But that was a pretty minor risk, and it was totally dwarfed by the benefits. Patients in the exercise group said they felt better, they functioned better, and get this, tests proved their heart and lung fitness was way better.
So you see these incredible results, and it just begs the question, what now? With evidence this clear, where do we go from here? And the researchers who ran this trial, They are not pulling any punches. They flat out say that their trial provides robust evidence and that structured exercise should be incorporated into the standard of care. That's a direct call to action for the entire medical field.
And this might be the most mind-blowing part of the whole thing. The authors point out that the survival benefit these patients got from exercise is in the same ballpark as many approved and very expensive drug treatments. Think about that. A non-toxic, basically free intervention with the power of a pharmaceutical.
And that leaves all of us with a final, really critical question. The proof is here. We have that level 1 evidence. We know this works. But as the researchers themselves point out, just knowing something isn't enough to change things. The next huge challenge is figuring out how our healthcare systems can actually deliver these programs to the patients who so clearly need them. The science is settled. The next frontier is making it happen.